Hi everyone, welcome back into Prime Time. We are back live in the studio here, totally unrehearsed. We're very excited about another show. I'm Barbara Marvell Kelly, and with me is my partner, Dennis Kelly. We're back.
We're back.
With love, too. We're back with love. And today what we're going to do is kind of like a repeat of 2 years ago, as of March 9th, that I shamelessly promoted over the weekend. And the reason why we did that is because we were featuring some little video clips where you can engage yourself for free now. The one was actually had a charge on it for $29.95, and well worth it. I actually paid that because it was broken down into various modules and videos and PDFs. Well, since the interesting last couple of years flowed through all of our lives, they made it free. They made it complimentary. So we're going to be talking about that, and we're also going to be talking about the HeartSmart Kids Adventures. That is also being offered for free. So stay with us. We are shamelessly promoting HeartMath Institute because as things open up down here in Florida and everybody's getting out and about, and we just want to see what we can do to help you help yourself when it comes to reducing stresses and how to manage our emotions. We're still dealing with that. Even though we're life coaches, we're licensed through HeartMath Institute. My husband's been certified since 1996. This is our way of life. It is truly our way of life from morning till night and night to morning, in case we have a night where we don't sleep, right?
That's very rare.
It is very rare. We sleep pretty good, but every now and again, we're no different than anybody else. So how's everyone doing today? How's life treating you? How are you treating life? How's life treating you, I might ask?
If they did, I wouldn't know about it.
Well, what I'm saying is we're doing pretty good with our lives. We can always do better, and that's what we work on. Even life coaches have days like a plumber with leaky pipes. Would you agree? Well, what I'm going to do is turn over to my husband because he has a very good reason for why he became involved with HeartMath Institute, which was back in 1996, right?
Well, no, it actually, well, that's when I met you, and we did that together, but it started in 1992.
Oh, so you were, you know, I did not realize that. You were, no wonder I loved you. No wonder I wanted us to be a couple. You got a jump start on me.
Oh, I have a young start.
So what was the catalyst? What caused you to delve into HeartMath?
It's because I had suffered 3 tragedies in one life, from 1991 to 1992, and they just tore my life apart, and I thought that I'd never be able to recover. And then there was a book that was a friend of mine, he was reading, he said, "You need to read this book." Well, I didn't care about reading at that point. That was the furthest thing from my mind. But what did I have to lose? I had plenty to lose if I didn't do it. So I joined HeartMath Institute because what I started to say, and I got ahead of myself, that the name of the book is a freeze framer. And to freeze frame is hold that thought and positive thought. And it's very, very difficult to do that. However, when you learn how to take and isolate a thought and you make it the good thoughts, that is a big, big step in the direction of being truly successful. Because the most important thing about life, to get where you want to get, you have to have a good attitude. Have a good attitude, you have to be able to focus on the things that require a good attitude to behold, to expect and express. All those things, because attitude, believe it or not. Oh no, I want you to think a little bit. I'm not going to tell you. You're going to tell the screen, then the screen's going to tell me. Sure.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
I am. Anyway, what the key thing is thoughts. Your thoughts are controlled. And as I started to say, what do you feel is the most important word in the English language? The very most important, there's no seconds. So much happens from this word. And it is the isolated word that everything of any good or bad springs from. What do you think it is?
What I think it is love.
Everybody usually says love, but I hate to differ with you.
Okay.
There is one that challenges
Let's
love.
differ. What other one?
No, Barb is the best expert in love. This system that you are doing is a control system called freeze framing. And the most important word in the English language or any language is thought. Thought. Think about that. If you don't control your thought, then what the hell is there left? That is the most important, and the world's experts will agree with that. Don't take my word for it. Just look up thought, and you'll be surprised how many things and wonderful things come from thought. So nothing begins unless it begins with thought.
I agree. I agree 1,000%. And there's actually a book out there that I think it's called Thoughts Are Things. And I know that from Chad Helmstetter, who says what to say when you talk to yourself, and he has several books out on thought, and I believe he's a PhD, and he really gives a lot of backup for that knowledge. And he is really one of our mentors that we've had for many, many years. And so we always like to recommend those books in case you're a reader like we are. And in order to be a leader, you have to be a reader. I know someone we all know and love that made that comment to me one time. To be a leader, you've got to be a reader.
Being a leader is, of course, a big responsibility. And if you lead, you better make sure you're leading those you're leading down the right path.
Of course.
Because this, what was it, Peter Piper, or what was it, the guy led everybody off the cliff?
That's probably not one I would want to remember.
Well, it'll come to me about a year from now.
But you know what? I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. And, you know, there's leaders everywhere, whether it's in politics or whether it's in our homes, right? In our schools, in businesses. There's always got to be leaders. And you have to have the thought process so that your heart can help make the decisions, because that's what we've learned through HeartMath. HeartMath Institute, my husband went there in the mountains, right? 2 times, not once, but twice, to get certified many years ago. And it was so telling when he came back and shared what he shared with me, and being in the mountains and just living on the land and seeing those animals and really learning what makes the human body and the human brain and the human heart tick, pardon the pun. Is that correct?
Very correct. You hit it right on the head.
Yeah. So you were there because you had gone through tragedies in your family, and you, if I remember you saying, it just about felt like it was going to take you out. Did you feel hopeless?
Yeah.
Did you feel Did you feel helpless?
Yes.
So think about what it's like to feel helpless and hopeless. Where do we go from there? Controlling our thoughts, our feelings, and living a love-empowered, heart-empowered lifestyle. Does it work? Absolutely. Don't think for 1 minute. My husband and I have not had similar crises that you have had, or setbacks. It's how we handle them. Correct?
Absolutely correct.
So before we go to a couple of our videos that we have for you, because we have the offer for you to actually learn pretty much what we've learned in these PDFs and videos that is basically drilled down so that HeartMath can gift those to people like yourselves. And then if you want any deeper coaching, of course, you're always welcome to contact us. But that's one of the reasons why we do the shows, is so that we can impart and engage you with us and just try a couple of things. We do that here. We do a heart lock-in, and we may do that here today, but there's so much to cover in 1 hour, but we will try to get to that. So what were some of the things I want you to take, and I don't know that if we've really done this before, maybe we have because we've talked about HeartMath so many times, and it's not that there isn't anything else to talk about, but we have different viewers every Monday, and even during Facebook, people go through and watch the videos, because right after the show it goes right in as an archive show, so that we can give as much exposure, because the time is right now. People are going through some crazy, and I mean crazy times. You see what's happening out there in the marketplace when it comes to food, increases on food, car parts, housing. I'm a licensed realtor for almost 40 years, and I'm not doing real estate right now. There's no homes down here in Florida. Maybe a few here and a few there, and way overpriced, and people are paying it. But guess what? You don't have to be helpless or hopeless if you do these exercises. So what were some of the first things, if you can remember, when you flew out to Boulder and you were there for a whole week, and every day you had drills of education, you were hooked up to various machines to measure your brain waves, your heart waves.
Incredible.
So why was it so incredible? What can you impart, just as if you just left there last week? We want to know. We want to know. Think about it.
I think about it a lot, and the key, obviously, is controlling your thoughts. Then the three most important words in the English language, and once you have these accolades and are able to do that, you have a whole new world open up before you. Things that you never dreamed of you can do, say, go to. And it's impenetrable. In other words, if you do the system without doubting the system, getting what your imaginary belief is, your key belief factors, and putting those together, and then those thoughts all should represent the things that make you feel better, things that make the people around you feel better. And it's not that difficult to talk about. Talk is cheap. It's easy to talk. Oh yeah, if I am positive, everything will be great. Wrong. Because being positive sometimes creates more problems and challenges than without positive thinking. And I know it was the first time I heard this, I thought the speaker was crazy. Anyway, he's bigger than I, so it stayed there. So anyway, as I was saying, the thoughts are things. There's three words. Thoughts are things. And you're in control, so that's why you have to be very careful what you're thinking about. Like I mentioned, success is 85% attitude and 15% product knowledge. Show me a young, enthusiastic kid coming out of high school with a lot of enthusiasm. Or show me a Harvard graduate with his attitude. And if the attitude of the college graduate is not amplified with positive thinking and positive feeling, and notice I said the thinking, but the feelings will come right after that, so that's controlling the thinking. Anyway, I would hire the enthusiastic kid rather than I would the college graduates. I quit high school, not that I recommend it, I think it's good for everyone to have a good education, but I quit high school before I graduated. As a junior in high school, I had to provide for a family. And that put me with the adults working. I was the youngest one, and wherever I worked. And it was a challenge that I met, because I said, I'm going to show everybody that I can amount to something. And it really paid off. All coming, most of it coming, let's put it that way, from the teaching of HeartMath Institute. They have some of the world's neurocardiologists picking up the pace, getting what makes us unstressed and makes us enthused and happy. Remember one thing, the key thing is to be happy because of things, not because of, be happy because of things, and right? Yeah, I had a Parkinson's moment there, didn't I?
Being happy not because of things.
That's right. You don't want to be happy in spite of things. You want to be happy because of things.
Well, you know, it's interesting because what HeartMath taught you was the connection from the brain to the heart and the heart to the brain. And what I found fascinating when you came back and was trying to explain some of this, and we have all the textbooks and everything with the studies that was done. And what you said was the fact that there is a brain in the heart. I really, honestly, I had kind of like a moment where I'm going, really, there's a brain in the heart? Well, that's why we call it heart-empowered living. Can you explain the machines that they put together? Explain how that actually worked. The machines that registered and validated that we have a brain in the heart, and the heart knows before the brain. How does that work?
It is amazing.
It is amazing.
When I first read the book and started following the teachings, I thought, people are going to think I'm crazy? A brain in the heart? You got to be kidding me.
Right.
Well, believe it or not, there is a brain in the heart, some of the same crystallite cells in the heart that are in the brain. And the heart communicates with the brain. The heart has 60 times more electrical vibrations than the brain, has 5,000 higher frequency level than the brain. The heart is the key. And it's very difficult to tell people there's a heart in the abdominal, in the head. And then I say, that's not only that. Now, are you sitting down? There is a heart in the gut, in the Dantean area, as we call that in the martial art world. There is a heart there. Same cells that are in the brain. There is 100 times more cells in the spinal column as in the spinal column, the little neurons and so on. So anyway, I didn't want to get technical there, but the answers are really clear when you follow the tuition, or I should say, following the action of what's improving your life, your lifestyle, and so on. So anyway, that's the main part of HeartMath, is being able to control your thoughts. And remember, thoughts are things. Go to the heart. There is a whole system called freeze framing that can actually change your life dramatically. And I'm not up here selling HeartMath as far as for enumerating benefits. I'm selling this because I love helping people, and it helped me pull myself out of it. If the average person will have 3 upsets in 1 year, they would probably take their own life. And that's so sad.
And that's happening today.
Believe me, don't get me wrong. I'm not preaching perfectionism. It actually kept me from probably taking my own life. I was that upset. It tore my whole life apart. Now I'm stronger than ever. At 84 years, I'll be 84.
March 29th.
Yeah.
March 29th. So we wanted to take one of our shows to talk about what our secrets are. And I just love talking about HeartMath because I heard it firsthand from my husband when he came back from the mountains. And I know that you remember about taking the boy and his dog. There was a story of boy and his dog where they hooked up all the electrodes and everything while the dog was petting, or while the boy was petting the dog, right? Mm-hmm. And it was like beautiful waves, very peaceful. And then they separated the boy and the dog and put them in 2 separate rooms, hooked up the electrodes again, and what happened next?
What happened next, and when they separated them, their heart rate variability went down. In other words, they had a heart that was producing no good chemicals because the dog is being separated. So it was 0 benefit to the little young man that loved his dog, and they took his dog to another room.
And it was jagged, wasn't it?
Yeah, the heart, the monitor
went jagged, real jagged, not flowing.
That's right. And if you took the spectral analysis machine is what they call it. If you took that spectral analysis machine and hooked it to somebody who was negative, their heart rate would be like a seismograph from California, staticky, like boom, boom, just like this, and very, very non-smooth and very rough. You can actually predict, and I don't mean this as a medical sale, but you can predict how long a person basically is going to live by their frequency that they accomplish.
Their frequency, absolutely, and that's why we are so big on it. You know, it's not woo-woo, it's all based on science. And we have not altered our program in 26 years. That's how long we've been together. You've seen us everywhere, including when I was a host at the Home Shopping Network. We sold out of the freeze frame book that you're talking about now, and I believe it's still available at HeartMath. And we promote HeartMath because we know it works. We've proven that it works to ourselves and to our family members and to my 6-year-old grandson. And let me tell you, that was breaking history. It was like a major breakthrough for a little guy, 6 years old. And we're going to be talking about that when I introduced the HeartSmart for Kids Adventures, and that was on February 14th. The year was 2020 when my husband set a 2020 vision for that year to be laser beam focused on what our passion is. And our passion is people, passion, and purpose, with Hearts on Fire to bring you exactly our program. So moving along, and I do have a video clip we're going to show in just a moment, but let's talk briefly about the freeze frame and why that is so important. If we told you that we have a 1-minute stress management program that will work, what would you think of that? Would you be sort of, I don't know about that. How do you do that in 1 minute? Do you get an injection of something? Do you pop a pill and it acts quickly? No. No, right?
Absolutely.
It sounds impossible, but it's not. Because like you were saying, when you change your frequency, and how many times do we need to change our frequency on the spot, right here, right now? Somebody's screaming in your face, somebody's giving you rude signs on the road, or just whatever it is that is upsetting to us. We have to change it in and of the moment, immediately. Or what happens? You get into road rage. You get into Donnybrook with somebody because you're not agreeing with things. If you're looking at life, us and them, and I know you know what I'm talking about there without me going there and wasting time on that. Our 1-minute stress management is exactly 1 minute. Because what happens, okay, after 5 minutes of being angry, being upset, with having your frequency going right down through the floor rather than going up to the heavens in positivity, in positive frequency, what happens after 5 minutes? Because when I met my husband, he'd already gone through this training. But this is what changed my life, is when he said, 5 minutes of an angry thought does what?
You got 2 minutes to change it. And that at first is very difficult. And it's so simple to understand, but it's difficult to do. So you have to change that thought. Just like if there was a hawk on a fence post, you couldn't change that. What you'd have to do is replace it with say you wanted a pigeon on that hole. So it all gets down to you're in control of your thoughts.
So the 5 minutes last, if you go past the 5 minute rule with 2 minutes to get out of it, right? And we're gonna get to that 1 minute, how it can really change your life. But what you said to me was 5 minutes of an angry thought dumps between 5 and 6 hours of cortisol.
How about that?
The poison that creates stress, that creates disease, and in many cases premature death. Unmanaged stress. Have we not had a couple of challenging years, to say the least? What the last couple of years have looked like, it has really been very destructive for many people emotionally and mentally. But this 1 minute stress management can help you raise your frequency. So I'm going to just let you share that, because you can do this right now for 1 minute. Or do you want me to do it?
Well, I'll do it.
Okay, good, because you're the best at it.
I know you wanted to do it, but you sort of tried to be nice.
Go ahead.
Okay, one of the first things that you have to do to make any teaching correct is form a strong belief system. Say, for example, you wanted this new car, this new vet, so to speak, and you wanted it bad, but you don't have the money for it. That challenge is eliminated when you change that Corvette into a positive thought. And that is not easy to do. So when you're thinking is thinking, like Zig Ziglar said, if your thinking is thinking, so is your results. And if your sight is on positive thoughts and feelings, it brings upon a whole ball game of good hormones. When you get that thought that produces the bad hormones, when you get that thought, it takes, as Barb said, it takes 68 hours to replace that. And you've got 68 hours of cortisol, adrenaline, going through your body like dripping acid. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't take long to get the results of that bad thinking. Now, if you change it over to freeze framing, thinking good thoughts and controlling, then there is no such a thing as a bad thought. Let me take you through this 1 minute very quickly. And even though it's 1 minute, I know your time is important. So this is one of the essence. This is taking time and twisting it to you. You're in charge. First thing you do is aware that you're in a stressful situation. Oh, I'm going one step too fast. Just make sure you got some loose clothing, you're sitting comfortably, and that'll make it much better. Now, if you don't have that benefit, you can do it standing up, running, sitting down, you can do it, but it takes a little bit of practice like anything else. So the first thing is determine to yourself, am I in a stressful situation? And of course, if you are, then you would take and do like a pause button, and pushing the pause button on a TV set. Push the pause button. That's point number 2. Number 3, go to the heart. When I say go to the heart, take a time in your life. This is critical when it comes to really changing your life to where you're reaching a state of imperturbability. Nothing in this world, I don't care what it is going to take me down. I'm getting stronger, I'm getting better, and I'm getting more caring. And that's the important factor. It's not how much it can do for you, it's how much you can do with those people that love you and surround themselves around you. Going out and doing bad things, shame on you. You got people that love you. And that's why this HeartMath, using the name heart, the research, it takes, in research, the electromagnetism from the heart can be measured 12 feet away. Can you imagine how far that goes? It goes to infinity, by the way. There's a little bit of quantum physics or jazzed it up. So then number 2 is you would pick that place. Number 3, go to your heart, pick that place again, hold that thought at least for a minute or so, and then relax. And then number 5 is take and see if it's working or not. And if it's not working, then change the thought. And believe me when I tell you, it does make a major difference.
And you've shared that, thank you, hon. You've shared that in many of your seminars, and what happens when you go through this 1 minute stress management. It takes a tremendous amount of focus, but once you get it, I don't care where you are or who is in your face saying whatever may be untruths or whatever, and it happens all the time. People are driving like maniacs. They're running up and down the aisles in the stores with the carts. And I look around and I think to myself, if I could just take each one of them and do this exercise, what do you think when you have to go to your heart?
Well, what I usually do, I think you're going to, well, you know, you've heard me use
I know. I want you to I want you to tell everybody.
Okay. Here's what I pick as my number 3. Where, remember I told you number 3, that should be a time in your life that you think, when you think about it, it makes you feel so good. And that does take practice. When when the tax collectors come and take in your home and things, and your best friend passes away, it's very difficult to do those things. But when you master that, people think, well, that's cruel. That person has no heart. No, you got plenty of heart. What you want to do is put that heart in that person going to heaven and say, me and the Lord are going to have a good time up there. That's part of the training we got out of HeartMath, is pick a thought that makes you feel good. The one I have that I use almost unequivocally always is when I and Barb got married, we're outside our country club. We got married outdoors. In fact, Dr.
Gills. Dr. Gills. Dr. Gills married us. The eye surgeon.
Yeah.
Here in Tarpon.
Right. Anyway, when I was waiting for her to walk down the aisle, which on the golf course grass, a beautiful setting. Day was beautiful. I looked at her and I thought to myself, oh my God, that's the most beautiful woman in the world. And the fact that I projected that thought, she's the most beautiful woman in the world, then the body starts saying, hey, this person wants to live. Puts out special cells. They're killer cells, not killing cells that bring on cancer, but killing cells on tumors and different things that affect the body that... I thought it was thunder for a minute. Hey, he scared me.
Well, you know, there's so much truth to...
Oh, I just wanted to finish one.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
To this day, I use that on a daily basis. I see it. It's just a flash for a couple, not even a couple of minutes in a case like that. Okay, now...
So what you're saying is basically going to a time in your life, and what you do share in your seminars and workshops, and even in a phone consultation, is that when you take yourself back to a time in your life, your genes, your body resonates with it, and it's as if you're reliving it, right?
Right.
And I love when you say that, because it's true. Do you have a neighborhood that you grew up with, and you had a gang of kids, and you all had a really good time and lots of fun, and maybe you ever go back and visit that neighborhood? How do you feel? Or if it maybe wasn't so good, maybe it was negative, how do you feel? The purpose is to go to that special place in time, and I too think about our marriage, and we've been married. We've been together 26 years, but
wow.
It'll be 22 years that we've actually been married. And it just depends on what's going on, because we manage our emotions pretty well, but there are those moments, mostly me, because women are just really emotional, much more than men at times. But I will say my husband has a very, very good emotional makeup, so to speak. He does feel for people. That's one reason why I married him, because we were a match of enthusiasm with our purpose. But if you go to a place in time, like sometimes I might go to my Yorkies, and you've done that too. I'll think of the Yorkies, because that is unconditional love. I think about when my sons were born and my grandson, how I felt holding those babies, and they were all healthy. Now they're grown men in their mid-40s and early 50s, and so there's so much to be grateful for in spite of what's going on around us. And I know that the world feels like it's upside down. We don't want anybody to feel hopeless or helpless, but if you have even a flash of a moment, if you do this 1-minute stress management and just sit with some comfortable clothing, put some music on, and I'm going to recommend even 432 megahertz. There's a picture of a lotus on there, and it has these beats on there that are supposed to be healing for us. So I'm not making any claims to heal, treat, or any kind of diseases, but I do recommend music is really, that's the journey right down to your soul. Put on some, or maybe your favorite music. My sister sent me a Motown Workout, and we're Motown girls. We grew up in Detroit City, so whenever I hear Chubby Checker or Peppermint Twist, or I'm ready to rock and roll. I can feel my body right now, and I'm talking. I'm not even taking that 60 seconds, but it's, you train your brain. Is that correct? You train your brain, you train your heart, so you can go to that 60 seconds like that.
That's correct.
Just like that. I promise you. It will work.
Reach a state of imperturbability where nothing can float your boat. And it sounds like Pollyanna, but believe me, it's not. It saves lives. The people that study this setting doesn't go against any religion. In fact, it adds to religion. And I just want to give you a little example of what I went through. About 12 years ago, when I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, my whole world that time just seemed like it was going to crash. but that only lasted for a few moments. I know that may sound crazy, but when the doctor diagnosed it, I said, well, how long will I be acting like a normal person? Well, basically, he said, it's incurable, and you're going to have to stop doing some of the things you're doing now. I thought to myself, God, why me? I said, why not me? Because then it puts me on a platform where I can help people by teaching them heart math and things similar to heart math, and changing lives is what I'm all about now. It's not about me anymore. I won 6 world championships in the martial arts, and it was half of those are won all for me. But then I realized I've got the incentive to bring people to the table on succeeding their life, being able to really be happy in spite of the things that happen to you. There was a book called The High Performance Mind by Anna Weiss. Anna Weiss puts it out quite cleverly. She's a PhD, MD, so on. She said that to reach a state of imperturbability, you have to not lack the confidence that it takes to raise your desire level to desiring to take the good things in life and letting the bad things go out the back door. Just like if somebody said, well, that person's taking cocaine. Oh, that gives them some pleasure. But think of the outcome of that. It's just terrible. And you know the outcome of that. We hear it enough. Or if somebody... No, I'll just skip that one. Barb, I know you got something to say.
I just looked at the clock. We're less than 20 minutes. We could be here for 6 hours talking about all this. But what I would like to do, and then I'll make a couple of points after we come back, is I want to go ahead, Rob, if we can, to the HeartMath Experience. And we were promoting that on our websites, but I could just give you the direct link. This, if you watch the video over the weekend, which was back from March 9th, 2020. That's 2 years ago. And we're still talking about this because we must get the message out. Since then, the HeartMath Experience, you can click on that. It'll take you to the link, and you fill it out, and you have instant access to be able to unlock the power of your heart, absolutely. But the HeartMath Experience and that link, if you forget it or don't have something to write it down or to go to, if you go to barbaramarville.com or dennis-kelly.com, it's on our front page. That's how much we believe in it. So, yeah, the HeartMath Experience, that video, as soon as that's ready, we'll pop that up there. And then we're also going to talk to you about the kids program as well, because I tested my grandson out, and it was just mind-blowing. And even my daughter-in-law said, Mimi, you made a real impact on JD, because I thought maybe if he'd give me 5 minutes, because I had just gotten licensed, and I did this on February 14th, on Valentine's Day. I figure it's the love day. I love this child with all my heart and soul. Let me try this. Maybe he'll give me 5 minutes, because, you know, a 6-year-old, they have the attention span of a gnat, right? But I was communicating his way on the iPad. So he was all in. He was all in. He gave me 5 minutes. Then he kept looking up at me, looking back. Another 10 minutes. We eventually went 35 minutes, and he kept doing this, looking up at me as if to say, wow, this is really cool. And he was definitely absorbing, because guess what? I got it right back with me when a little while later we were doing homeschooling. And of course, if any of you know me, you know my feelings about the digital age. And everyone was on the computer. You remember how happy I was about that.
How can I forget?
And talk about having to do that 1 minute management. Even JD reminded me, he says, now, Mimi, we need to learn how to manage our emotions, and we'll figure this out. He's so precious. So yes, we can teach the kids this. We can teach you this. Just go to the HeartMathExperience.com, and you'll be able to click on there and just fill it in. You'll instantly get the download. and the same for the kids. Rob, do we have that video that we can show a little bit and give a little teaser out there? Because that program for the kids it's priceless. It really is. And they're not charging for that either. So I just want to make you guys aware, and if we can pop that up before we close the show, that'd be great. Now, if I can remember what I was going to make my points at, otherwise I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, I had to give you some time.
But well, there's so much when you talk, and then it creates this, these little veins going out there that I want to go down this bunny hole and that bunny hole, but I want to also stay focused with everyone, because this is something that can happen right away. Sometimes we may think we're managing our emotions. We're going along, and then something triggers us. And I think for me and for you, it's usually something that is probably unfair. It's just an unfair situation, maybe not your fault, but something happened. Somebody said something, or somebody else said something, and that's what I wanted to say. Perception is key. Perception can be said in so many different ways and really turn people off. And I think part of the challenge in today's times is this, right here. Too much texting.
Amen.
Too much texting. I'm the first one to say I'm guilty. I do it because people are texting me. It may be something about the studio, maybe a last minute change. We're in the minute business with TV, and so I have no problem with doing that. Or if there's a coach client that's in crisis and needs some help or something, there are certain things. But to just sit there and text and no, I don't have the time for that. Well, you don't have the time for that either.
No, that's for sure.
So, what do you have to add? Before we close this, we have less than 15 minutes.
You're kidding me.
I'm not, I know.
Serious?
I'm very serious.
Well, I'll be darned.
I know. But it's making these points, and like I said, just in case you're tuning in for the first time with this hour today, when my husband said that 5 minutes of an angry thought can put the worst negative chemicals in our bodies for 6 to 8 hours in a day with only 5 minutes. How many 5 minutes do people get angry? Are you watching the news? Come on, are you watching the news? Do you have it on all day? We have had to curtail that exponentially, haven't we?
Remember me telling you about why people basically are more negative. There's more negative people than there are positive?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Remember me when at that last seminar?
Say that. Tell us.
Part of the reason that people find it very difficult to be positive constantly, to be in a positive mood constantly. However, there is a reason for that. In our Paleolithic ancestor days, the people that were born, the cavemen, the Neanderthals, they actually were more negative than positive, because if it wasn't for that, we would have never survived as a human race. And that's hard for people to grasp. Because, for example, if you have a hunting tribe, you got to say 10 of the warriors are out there hunting in the woods, and there's a bush over there in the corner, and a negative person, negative caveman or whatever you want to call him, would actually say, oh, there's no lion behind that bush. And sure enough, there was. An optimist, what an optimist would have done was actually
Yes. You having a moment?
Yeah, I'm having a moment. Actually, the catalyst was this, that most of the time the cavemen won. Otherwise, we wouldn't have made it to here.
And you're right. People go down the negative bunny hole rather than just take a pause. Just hit the pause button. Hit that mental, emotional pause button with your brain. And I'm going to even practice that even more. Just imagining. Imagination is key to everything. When you can imagine, what you think about, you bring about. That's serious thinking.
It's so true.
Excuse me.
Thoughts are things. We can always come right back to thoughts, or thoughts are things. Mm-hmm. And that is the primary thing that people that really make it big in success in the movies and sports, they know how to deal with that feeling, that thought, that positive attitude.
Hey, what about Tom Brady? I just went down the bunny hole.
He is probably one of the best examples for our children that you can think of.
You think maybe he had those thoughts when he was at, I forget where he was, I think it was England? And
Yeah, he,
all of the crowds and the bleachers, everybody in the bleachers, and something hit him. Something hit his cord.
remember when we had a moment like that? Mm-hmm. When all that came from in the arena.
Yeah.
And there was a world championship match. I was 78 at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I fought in the Orlando World Competition at the arena there at the hotel. And the thing that really made me feel good is with the Parkinson's disease, I was told by my doctor I'd never be able to do this. Not only did I compete, but I won. And as soon as I won, a moment that I'll never forget, and this is where you take positive feeling more than positive thinking, is they came from all over because the judge found out that I had Parkinson and that I was the oldest man ever to enter a tournament in fighting. So the judge came over and he said, "This is a true champion." He said, "This is the man to follow his footsteps." And the parents were bringing their kids over, taking selfies, and it took us about an hour to an hour and a half to get out of the gym.
I know. I remember that. It was a wonderful feeling. I mean, I was jumping around like a little kid in a candy store. It was just so amazing because our primary doctor at the time, and I wasn't there at that appointment. That was one that you went on your own, and you had asked him that question, and he says, "Well, don't worry about it. There's nothing you can do about it." We are not the type of people to say, "No, you can't." So we fired that doctor, and we fired another doctor, because we know what's inside of us and we know what we have with HeartMath. And even though with the Parkinson's, I hate to even say that word, you have done so incredibly well. I mean, who goes out and wins a 6 world title, right? And the guys that you were competing, and by the way, the reason why he's always done this since we've been together is like what he said earlier. The first few championships he wanted to win to prove something, because growing up as a kid he was told he was dumb and he wasn't worth 2 cents. How many of us have grown up with something like that? Okay? So he had to prove something. He ended up writing his book, The 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth, and he ended up going to this championship. I don't even know if he intended to win. Maybe you did in your heart.
No, I did not.
It was to show the power of thought. Thoughts are things. And it shows the power of human synergy when you take care of yourself. And mental health is one way to take care of yourself in any way possible, if you can do it naturally. And that's why we are here on our soapbox talking about HeartMath Institute, because it's right before your eyes. You do that 60 seconds. Just try it. And don't give up on yourself if you kind of lose your focus. I mean, we even lose focus in prayer, right? And we go off thinking about this and off, then we got to come right back, start all over with your prayer. I'm guilty of that from time to time, but at least I'm praying. So that 1 minute stress management, we sold that out on the Home Shopping Network in less than 5 minutes. The book Freeze Frame, your Tai Chi videos, all in less than 5 minutes. Well, as I look back, all these years that I've been on the planet, people always need this kind of training because they don't know how to manage their emotions. And so now, after what the last couple of years looked like, I'm going, yikes, people need this more now. That's why you're seeing us do more shows now. And every time we do a show, you'll pick up something a little bit different from the last time, because we watch our shows and we watch how we can improve. How can we improve the delivery? And so that's why we're here, to share all that with you. Guaranteed, if you try that and stay with it, and if there's anything else you want to know how our day goes, like I have this, you can call it a ritual, you can call it my program, where when I wake up in the morning, I take care of my little girls, get them fed, and get them their little treats for going potty and all of that. My husband's still sleeping. I love to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning religiously. I listen to Joy FM. Joy FM with the most beautiful, wonderful music. There's even some rock and roll on there, all talking about God and Jesus and many things in the Bible that to remind us. And then I listen to Dr. Charles Stanley. 5 o'clock is a coaching. They have authors on there, and they're very good authors. They're very spiritual, and they talk about how God has touched their lives, how God has touched our lives. Another reason why we're here, and to reinforce that. And then at 5:30 sharp, exactly 5:30 Eastern Time, Dr. Charles Stanley comes on, and I've been following Dr. Charles Stanley ever since I was a teenager. And his delivery gets better and better and better and better. And he always, it always feels like he's talking to me personally. And so that's how my day goes when I get up in the morning, and then when my husband gets up, I replay Dr. Charles Stanley, although if he gets up at 5:30, you get to listen to it live. And it's very rewarding. You can have anything going through your head, but when I listen to Joy FM, that's my favorite music station, and it's rewarding, but it's inspiring and it's motivating. It helps me get through my day. And you incorporate the science behind HeartMath Institute and develop a heart-empowered life, you will change. It will be life-changing for you. That's the reason why you decided to embark and engage on a coaching program. And we're available for a complimentary consultation. All you have to do is do a little private message, put your phone number in there, and we'll contact you. You can also go to agelessliving.com. If you would like us to email you, feel free to go to Ageless Living. It's on my new landing page, and you can certainly get in there, and we'll get your email like that, and we'll get a hold of you like that, because that's what we want to do. We want to help everybody out. Less than 5 minutes, champ. What do you have to say now?
I would say that I feel very fortunate to be able to be here, and I thank all of you for coming, for being here, and it really makes me feel good that I am getting through to people. That is my main objective in life now. And it's funny because the doctor that we fired, we didn't really fire him like that, but we just didn't go there anymore.
Yes, we did.
Right. So the key is to keep moving forward. Abe Lincoln said, I will keep moving forward, maybe slow, but never stop.
Yes, yes.
Some think what I'm teaching is Pollyanna in the sky. No, it's not Pollyanna. It's powerful stuff and things that I could never do before. And the doctor said, he says, you're the one that we let go. He said that you're not going to be able to do the same things you did. You won't be able to get up on stage and possibly without freeze framing. Not freeze framing, about freezing. In other words,
a freeze
frame
yeah.
Isn't that's the freeze frame is a good thing. The negative thing is the freeze, what you're doing, what you're saying, where you're standing. And it usually lasts about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And I was so concerned about that when I first started doing some more seminars, talks and things like that. Actually, I found that I got better results after I had the Parkinson's disease. And I think people then believe this guy, this old fart, if he can go through and doing these things, I can do anything. That's the message I want to give to people. If I can do this, you can do anything. If you don't try to do anything, shame on you. But I will say a prayer for you.
Well, you know, it's true. I know this is a cliche that it's not ours, but so I hear if you don't have a plan, it could be a plan to fail. So try to develop a plan, and we're here to give this to you. This is free knowledge. You can get, again, I just want to shamelessly promote the HeartMath Experience. I want to shamelessly promote the HeartSmart Kids Adventures, where you can unlock the power of your heart, and you can get that free of charge. So I hope that you will do that. You can also go to barbaramarvel.com. The link is right on the front page, and dennis-kelly.com. The link is on the front page as well. So give it a shot. You have nothing to lose. Did you wake up this morning just feeling, okay, well, no, is this going to be another day of the same? The same what? Here it is right here. Thanks, Rob. The HeartMath Experience. It's a 90-minute video introduction to HeartMath Institute, and I am telling you, that has all been reduced down into the bullet points that you will definitely be able to feed on. And I would love for when you get it to send us some feedback, even after you watch the first video, and then print up the PDFs. I have the whole book with the PDFs all right there, so it's at my fingertips in case technology shuts down for whatever reason, because I'm old-fashioned that way, and I still like to have something I can touch and feel like this. So we have the whole book filled up. And I, too, want to say thank you for joining us. And please tell your friends. This will be on Facebook as well, and I will repost it. Feel free to mark some comments on there and private message us. Mainly me, because I'm on the computer pretty much all day long. And so I'm there, and I will try to answer as quickly as I can. Or go to agelessliving.com. You'll be able to pick up there, and I've got a little message there as well for some of the things that we're doing. But I truly want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in, for your vote of confidence in us. And I hope this has been beneficial and that you've gotten several takeaways. You know, we're going on, 73 and 83 right now. He'll be 84, but it feels more like 37 and 48, I would say. So thanks for joining us.
Yes.
God bless all of you.
Bottom of our heart.
And I hope all your dreams come true, and do that little 1-minute management. There's a kiss.